the person accused, do you get a chance to speak directly, or do you do all the talking for your client?
Yeah, but there's a reason why you have a solicitor, and they're there to speak for you. You shouldn't talk. In most cases, people don't want to talk. Actually, one of the things they'll ask me is, do I have to talk? And I'll tell them, no, you don't. If you're represented by a solicitor or by a lawyer, you don't have to say anything. The judge will speak to your lawyer. Your only job as a person before the court, before the trial date, if there is a trial date, is just to be there. And so the judge can see that you're there. But you're not required to say anything or to enter any plea on the first day, or even on the first day you don't have to enter any plea, you don't have to say anything. But when you're represented, your lawyer does all the talking for you. Road traffic it's something that really affects people a great deal. I mean, what you discover with road traffic is that it means a lot to people, because if they're being prosecuted for drink driving, or sometimes drug driving, dangerous driving, careless driving, driving whatever, speeding, the consequences of those things are pretty severe sometimes for people. And the people that I tend to represent all tend to be quite nervous of court. They've never been to court, and they're in some cases really quite sometimes petrified about court. So a lot of what I do is try and walk them through that process of what to expect on that day and the next day perhaps. But I try and guide them through the process, because it's completely alien to them. They've never been there. If a judge decides to strike out a case, that's usually it means the end of the case. But there's another mechanism where they say, I'm dismissing the case. Striking out the case means that, provided the statute of limitations isn't run out, the guards can come back again and bring the prosecution a second time round. But if the case is dismissed, they can't. So in truth, if a judge decides to abandon the case or strike it out, as a lawyer you'll always ask him to please dismiss it rather than striking it out. Because you know if they dismiss it, they can't come back. But if they strike it out, they could. Now in truth, in most cases, if it's struck out, the state just leave it go. Because they've tried it once, they don't usually, unless it's a very serious matter, try it a second time. Yeah, oftentimes, I mean, I'll talk to people initially at the first stage, and then I'll ask them to write out in fairly good detail what happened in the form of an email, and to do it straight away. The longer you leave something, the more likelihood is that you'll forget bits and pieces. So I ask people to kind of focus on what happened, to focus on what time of day it was, where they were going to, where they were coming from, what did the guard say to them, and so on. So as much detail as possible, and to write it out quickly before you lose, before you forget it. And that is your account going forward. So the sooner you get started on that, the better. That's actually one of the best things you can do for yourself straight away.